Before we get into the episode, I have an amazing gift for you that is going to create so much growth in your business. I just recorded an episode where I shared how I grew my business by 657% in 1 year. I shared the exact principles I used. There are 5 of them. As if that's not enough, I created a worksheet for you where you can just go through certain exercises so you can implement those 5 principles in your business in the next 24 hours. We're talking about wins you're going to create in your business in the next 24 hours because of an episode of the EntreMD podcast you listen to. So go to entremd.com/worksheet to get your worksheet and head over to listen to episode 479 of the EntreMD podcast. Is going to completely rock your world. And there's nothing better than doing it other than doing it with a few friends. So share this with a few physician colleagues. You guys do it together and share with me the wins you created in your business in 24 hours. And now for the episode. If you're going to work 80-hour work weeks, have no time off, and run your expenses so that your profit margin is 2%, who cares if you have a multi-7-figure business? Nobody wants it. Do you see what I'm saying? Hi, docs. Welcome to the EntreMD podcast, where it's all about helping amazing physicians just like you embrace entrepreneurship so you can have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on your terms. I'm your host, Dr. Una. One of the worst things that can happen to you as an entrepreneur is for you to spend time working on what doesn't need to be worked on, optimizing what doesn't need to be optimized, investing what doesn't need to be invested in. You have to know what the main thing is and keep the main thing the main thing. And so in talking to a lot of entrepreneurs who are having challenges in their businesses, whether it's a private practice or they're a coach or whatever, I find that they have a lot of the vanity metrics on point, but the actual things that are the needle drivers in the business, they don't, and they're not aware. And so on this episode of the EntreMD podcast, I'm going to talk to you about 7 vanity metrics that distract entrepreneurs. And after you're done listening to this, you will be very clear on what the needle movers are, the things you need to invest in, things you need to optimize, the things you need to pay attention to. If you do need to procrastinate on, the few things you do not need to procrastinate on, right? And the things that you can know, practice creative procrastination, as Brian Tracy calls it. Okay, so this right here is going to put you in a position where you're very strategic. When shiny objects show up, you are very clear. This is a shiny object. In fact, I'll tell you this. A few years ago, when I was making my vision board, one of the things I put on there was I wanted to have 100,000 downloads of the EntreMD podcast. Okay, so this was many years ago. But I will tell you this. I had my 9 goals, right? Like, so on my vision board, I had things that represented all 9 areas of my life. And then I had this as number 10, and I said it was my vanity goal. I was very clear that this is not a metric to necessarily optimize for, and I'll explain what I mean. Now, these metrics, they're all good. These things are all good. In fact, I think I have all of these things in most of my businesses, but it's not the driver. It's not the main thing. It's not the thing we push for at the expense of the more important things, right? So I'm not saying these things don't need to be there, but you need to be very clear. In a way, this is a vanity metric, okay? Some of them will absolutely shock you. Some of them will absolutely delight you. But I want you, on this particular episode, I want you to send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram and say, Dr. Una, this is what I got from that. This is a thing that is vanity metric that I've been optimizing for and all of this stuff. Thank you so much for the episode. Now I know how to think about this stuff. I really appreciate that. Okay. And this is an episode I want you to share with the doctors in your world, right? Like if you've listened to the podcast before, you know our episodes are all good. You can literally hit that button, grab the link, share it with the people in your world. Tell them, oh my goodness, here Dr. Una goes again, but this is going to be good. Listen to it with me. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about these metrics. Okay. So the first one, and I see this a lot, is number of staff. Oh, I have 10 members. Oh, I have 50 members. Oh, I have, like 35 team members and all of this stuff. Hello, this is not a thing to optimize. This is not a thing because In many businesses, their team is where all profits go to die because the team members are not properly led. They were not properly hired. They don't have metrics. They're not being held accountable. That like none of these things are happening. And so this is not a profitable team. This is a team that costs the business money. And the more of them you have, if you're honest with yourself, the smaller your profit margin became. And that's the truth. Am I against a big team? Of course not. I mean, listen to the Entrepreneur podcast. I talk about getting team members all the time, right? But just a number of team members because some people hire to hire. They just hire to have a bigger team because to them, a bigger team means my company's working. It doesn't. It might mean your company's dying. Okay. It might mean that. So this is a vanity metric unless it's a profitable team. And a profitable team means we're very clear on how this team member serves our clients or patients. We're very clear on how this team member makes money, right? How their role generates revenue, right? We have a meeting cadence. We hold them accountable. We do all of these things. We hold them accountable to the metrics. And so if these things are not happening, it's not a profitable team. They may be costing you money and it doesn't matter the size. Now, if you have a profitable team, by all means, have 300 team members. We know that every team member is creating a win-win-win. They're creating a profit for the practice. They're creating money to cover their overhead and money to cover their salary, right? And so you can hire as many as you want. So the number on its own is not something to shoot for. What you want to shoot for is building your team structure in such a way that your team members are profitable, okay? So that's the first vanity metric. Okay. Now, again, remember what I said. None of these things are wrong. So the second vanity metric is number of square feet. Oh, my practice is, 10,000 square feet. My practice is 7,500 square feet. Oh, we just got this 55 square foot building, blah, 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 blah. Is it bad? No. But if the reason we got that square footage is to get that square footage, then we're running into a problem here. This is a problem. This is a problem. It only matters. This is only a great thing. I'm only celebrating you for bigger square footage if you know how to use it in a profitable way. I'm getting this square footage because, now you say it's for a private practice. Now we're bringing on another doctor and we want them to have these 3 exam rooms, or we have this other vertical that doesn't even rely on me and my nurses can handle it. And this is the space that they need for that. Or we got this space. I'm still going to use the same amount of space, but I wanted to sublease this space, right? And so that's bringing in passive revenue that way or whatever. But there has to be something. If we just got more space to have more space so we can have cuter pictures, we're optimizing for the wrong thing. And we put our practices in positions where now we have financial pressure because of a vanity metric that doesn't matter. I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Karen Kaufman. She started off in, the first location she got for her practice and quickly outgrew and got to the second location. And when we were having a conversation, she made a statement about sitting down to map out how to utilize this square footage that she has in a profitable way. Now, your mind may be going, because doctors, we can be like this, your mind may be going to, it's not all about the profits. Ugh, okay. So this is the deal. We in our practices or in our businesses, we provide great care. But the only way we can continue to provide great care is if we stay profitable. If we're not profitable, we have to shut our doors and there's no great care to be had. So this is important. Okay, so if we're getting bigger space, then why? How are we going to leverage it? How are we going to make it? How are we going to use it in a profitable way? How are we going to use it in the way that this big space is not costing us money, it's making us money? Because that's the whole point of investing, right? If I'm going to invest in the bigger space, then I want an ROI. I want a return on investment on my investment. So that's the second thing. So do we just get bigger square footage just to get bigger square footage? No, we got to think about other things. Number 3. Okay. Number of media mentions. Okay. I was in this magazine. I was in that magazine. I was featured here. You post on social media. I was featured here. Now, Dr. Una, are you saying this is bad? Of course not. I mean, the EntreMD has been on the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies for the last 3 years in a row, and has been on the Inc. regional list of fastest growing companies in the region, right? So I think for us, that Southeast region has been there for 3 years. So on Inc. alone, we've gotten 6 awards. And I've posted about them every single time, but I'm very clear. This is a vanity metric. And I'll walk through how I think about that. Now, that doesn't mean I don't celebrate. I'm not grateful. I mean, it is a thing, right? For this to have happened and all of that stuff. It doesn't mean that. But what it means is I'm not just optimizing for that. I'm not getting distracted by that. Okay. So for instance, when they make the Inc. 5000 announcement, it's typically in August, but it's for revenue that was generated last year. So August of this year is when August 12th, that's when the announcement went out, on Trend B hit the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing privately held companies in the United States. And this was our third year. That was based on the revenue for last year. So what if last year I was working, I was growing my company, I was focused on serving my clients at the highest level, getting them results, inviting new people to work with us, and all of that stuff. And because of that, I qualified for the Inc. 5000. But this year, I've been on cruise control, and I have not been. I'm giving an example. I've been on cruise control, not paying attention to my clients anymore, and all of these things. And so actually, we're underperforming this year. Okay. So I go out on social media like, oh my goodness, Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing companies. And I'm celebrating for a week. And I buy all the plaques and all the stickers and all the things. And I'm doing all these podcast interviews talking about, oh my goodness, how I made the Inc. 5000 list of fastest growing company. Hello. That is a huge distraction because based on that story, I'm not doing anything today that would have even put me in a position to qualify if we're doing that over. That's for last year's work. And it's a highlight reel. Right? Okay, so am I saying it's bad? I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just trying to say that me getting Inc. 5000 award doesn't mean I should just stop and go like, oh, everything's great in my business, because everything may not be. I need to look. Like, if this year were last year, would I still qualify to be on this list? Right? If, based on what I'm doing now, would I qualify to be on it next year? These are things. And I'm not trying to say don't be grateful. I'm just saying don't let that be a distraction. You were featured in Forbes. You were featured in all of these things. Am I knocking that? No, I've done those things. But I am saying if you also look and you find you're not serving your clients at the highest possible level, or your patients at the highest possible level, and if you look and you find out that now you're starting to have an attrition problem where people are no longer staying with you, if you look and find out that you're no longer attracting new people, if you look and find that you're finding you're not showing up as the CEO, your team members, they've left, you've not hired to replace, you're in cruise control, like you have a big issue that needs to be worked on. And distracting yourself for a week talking about where you're mentioned and all of those things have nothing to do with anything. And it's also like, let's say you were on a big podcast, okay? You're like, oh my goodness, I was honored to be on this podcast. That's a media mention. Okay, that's wonderful. But the question is, did you strategically use your calls to action so when you're done with whatever you're doing on your podcast, people can find you and then come work with you? Right? The question is, when people go to find you, let's say you didn't even give a call to action, but they went to find you. When they find you, is your brand optimized in such a way that people know, okay, this is how you can work with them. This is how you can get on the email list. Oh, they have a podcast too. Check it out. They have a course, buy that. They have a private practice. Come join the practice. Like, did you optimize it so the euphoria of all the things that happened because of this big brand mention, that it has anything to do with moving forward in your business? Like, was that a strategic thing? Does it put you in front of the right people? What did it do for your brand? What did it do for your company? Right? Okay. Number 4, number of followers. Okay. Number of followers. Am I saying don't grow the number of followers? I track the number of followers I have every single week. I know across my brand, I have about 44,000 people that are followers. I'm not saying don't track the number, right? But it's not a metric that we're optimizing for, because that on its own does nothing. The question is, the people that are following you, have they now come on your email list? The people that are following you, are they now coming to your workshops? Are they now coming to your private practice? Or have you optimized your brand so if they can even find out? Some people have been following you, they don't even know what you do. Do they know what you do? Right? Do they know what you do? Otherwise, you can be follower rich and dollar poor. You can be follower rich and patient poor and client poor. Right? And so, yes, I have the followers, but am I translating them to something else? Because just saying I have 1 million followers, there are many people who have 1 million followers and their businesses have not done more than $2,000 in the year. Dr. Renee, you're going to need to calm down some kind of way. Okay, number 5. Number 5 vanity metric, likes and comments. Oh, I did that post and I got 200 likes and I got 45 comments. I did that post and it went viral, right? I did that reel, it went viral. I got 2 million views and I got good. And then what happened? Because the whole point of visibility is for a portion of that visibility to lead to patients, clients, and all of that stuff, because we are not content creators. We are entrepreneurs who use content to grow our businesses, right? And so again, it goes back to the same thing. Have I built a business base that is just waiting for visibility to take off? So when the visibility comes, you can take advantage of the visibility, right? Okay, so I had the likes, I had the comments, but I didn't have any call to action. If people look for me on social media, there's nothing. They can't tell what I do. They can't tell how to work with me, right? They don't know. They have to know. They have to know. I'll give you an example. You can write a book and go on social media like, oh, I'm so excited. My dream was always to write a book. And I wrote the book and all of that stuff. And this is the cover, or this is the book. And you can get 300 likes, you could get 100 comments, and you could get 2 book sales. You could get 2, 1, 2. How do I know? It's happened to me. Okay? 1, 2, and that's it. So all the euphoria of, oh my goodness, look at the activity on this post. And if you have you have all the red numbers and all this and the pops and the dings and the vibrations and all that stuff from your Facebook and your Instagram going on, it's like, oh my goodness, everybody's fine about it and everybody's buying it. And nobody's buying it. Nobody, because you have to have other things in place. Okay? Okay, so recently we launched a journal called the 20% Coach Journal. Powerful. Is the journal I use. In fact, now I call it my number one productivity tool. It's so amazing. You can get your copy on trendy.com/journal if you haven't gotten yours yet. But it's a journal you use twice a week. At the beginning of the week, to set your goals and all those things and set the stage for a great week, your best week yet. And at the end of the week to evaluate it so you can gain wisdom from the experience you had over the course of that week. So when you show up on the next week, week 2, you show up as you 2.0. And week 3, you 3.0 and all of that. So that's the tool I use to radically change my life every week. It has changed my life since I started using it. Okay, so on trendy.com/journal. Now, when we did this, and this is a tool like, my mentees in other parts of my world, they can all use it, right? And so, somebody said to me, they said, oh, you have EntreMD, you have Success by the Book, which is my faith-based YouTube channel, and you have Arise and Shine, which is a prayer meeting I do every morning. You have all these people. You don't really need to sell the book. Like, it's just, people are just going to buy. You're just going to sell thousands of copies. And so I, as a savvy entrepreneur who's been at this for the last 15 years, I laughed. I said, you have no idea how this thing works, right? If you do not sell it, it will not sell. Period. End of story. It doesn't matter. Like, will some people buy no matter what? Yes, of course. But it can't be left to chance. Okay. So of course I would post it and, there'd be lots of posts and all that. I'm not confused by that. I don't stop. Like, now, don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful for every like. I'm very grateful for every comment. But I also know that there's work that needs to be done for that to translate to impact. Because for me, the reason why I push this journal so much is because I see what it's doing in my life. I see what it's doing in my mentee's life. I have my daughter and my son using, I see what it's doing for them. And I'm just like, my goodness, this is mind-boggling. Okay? I want to have the impact. And so if I want to have the impact, I'm going to have to sell it. I cannot be distracted by the likes and comments and be lulled to sleep and not sell it. So guess what I do? I show up in the Rise and Shine community, I promote it. I show up on Success by the Book, I promote it. I come to EntreMD, I promote it. When I talk to people who are like, how I use my time and all that, I promote it. I have people who are like, oh, I have this question about this, I promote it because I know it's going to change your life. And I cannot depend on just the likes and the comments. You're starting a new practice, for instance. You're like, oh my goodness, I always wanted to launch a practice. Now I've launched a practice. Or you open up a second location. Oh my goodness, we're growing. We have a second location, all that stuff. Okay, appreciate the likes, appreciate the comments, and go and market your practice. Because if you don't market your practice, you're going to have an empty schedule. So don't let this distract you. Like, appreciate it for what it is. I try as much as possible to respond to almost all my comments and all of those things. I try. Because that's somebody taking time out of their day to have a full conversation with me, right? Like, so I engage in all of that stuff. And I do what needs to be done. I do the marketing that needs to be done. I do the selling that needs to be done. I follow up with people like I need to. I serve my clients at the highest level. I do all of this stuff. I don't stop at the likes and the comments. Okay? Okay, so that's number 5. Number 6. I alluded to this earlier, is the number of downloads. Okay, so I could come to the EntreMD podcast. I'm like, oh, snap, look at that, look at that. We had 200,000, downloads so far this year. And I was up. Okay, all right, hang on. You can have a podcast that does nothing. because you can have the downloads and not have the result. So the downloads are very important and very good if you learn to be a person who understands you're taking people on a journey. You may show them, they may come on and they discover, oh my goodness, look at what is possible for physicians. I can start a business, I can grow the business, I can take it to six figures, I can take it to seven figures, take it to multiple seven figures. I've heard the story of a doctor who had a first $1 million month. That could be me too. Like, oh my goodness. Now they're open up to what is possible. And then they open up to the mindset shift, the identity shift they have to be. Well, I'm not just a physician. I can be a physician entrepreneur. I'm not a physician with a private practice. I have to be stuck and I have to be, like burnt out and all this stuff because it's the way it is. I can build a team-led private practice. And you're learning all of these things. And learn like money's not bad. It's not good. It just is. And it takes the shape of whoever has it, right? And you're learning all these things. And then you're like, okay, I realize that, man, I need to learn a lot of things if I'm going to be able to pull this off. And then I'm like, yeah. And there's the profitable private practice movement. There's the EntreMD Business School. You can come in. We have books that you can buy. The Profitable Private Practice Playbook, the EntreMD Method, all these things. These are all things that will change. So you're taking people on a journey. And so if you have all the downloads, but you're not taking people on a journey, they're not coming to work with you. They're not coming to say yes to working with you. They're not buying the books. They're not sharing the podcast episode. They're not doing any of that, except you are inviting them to do that, except you're taking them on that journey, right? Okay, so if you have a ton of downloads, but you don't have a call to action, you're not taking people on the journey, you don't have the business you can put them in, you don't have any of those things, you will have a lot of downloads, but you're not going to have all the other stuff. Like, it didn't affect your business. It's a vanity metric. Am I saying it's a vanity metric? You shouldn't want more downloads. You bet you. Actually, you heard me at the beginning of this say, please share this episode. And I'm going to say it again. Listen, our job is to help 100,000 doctors figure out how to build profitable businesses so they have the freedom to live life and practice medicine on their terms. If this podcast has been a gift to you in any way, if it's helped you have a mindset shift, if it's helped you get new clients, if it helped you bring team members on, if it's even brought you to this place where you knew that the profitable private practice movement was for you and you've gone in there and you're getting all these wins, or you're in the EntreMD Business School and now your business is at 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, 6 figures, whatever, is growing and all that stuff. You're bringing on team members. You're seeing what is possible. You have the best network you've ever had in your life. Then I want to ask you to share this podcast with the people in your world. And when I say in your world, I mean post about it on social media. If you're part of organizations, tell them, listen, like, this is free. This is a free business education for every physician. Invite them to do that at work and all that stuff. I want to invite you to be an ambassador and be an evangelist for the cause. Like, tell people about it because it's so, we don't give fluff here. We're doing real stuff. Like, by doing this episode, there are businesses that were at risk of going out of business that won't be. Yeah, established businesses that have been stuck in a level because they've been focused on vanity metrics and now they're going to move forward. And there's someone who's going to start a business and ahead of time, without having to go to the school of hard knocks like we did, they're going to know these are the things you don't do. These are the things you don't focus on. Yeah, they're good, but they're good if, right? Okay. Number 7. And this is going to sound so crazy that I say this, but number 7 is revenue. Like, revenue is a vanity metric if you don't care about profit. Revenue is a vanity metric if you also don't care about quality of life, time off, all of those things. Like, it has cousins, okay? And so if all you're going to look at is the revenue, you're not going to look at the profit, what it's going to do is it's going to put you in a position where your expenses will be like through the roof because you're not paying attention to that at all. Like, I have people go like, oh yeah, we're a 7-figure business, but you're a 7-figure business and you have 10 team members and you have rents that is like through the roof and you have all this. Like, I'm like, I know that you're running at a loss. So am I saying don't have a target for revenue? Of course not. I have a target for revenue. I teach you to have a target for revenue. As we get closer to the end of the year, we're going to do all these goal setting workshops and revenue is going to be there. But if you're not going to observe the laws of business and pay attention to the other parts, right, which in every one of our programs, we teach these things, right? We teach you to build a profitable team. We teach you because your team could erode all your profits. Right? We teach you to do that. We teach you to think about these things. We teach you to pay attention to your ability to create revenue while taking time off and all these things. Why? Because they go together. So if you're going to work 80-hour work weeks, have no time off, and run your expenses so that your profit margin is 2%, who cares if you have a multi-7-figure business? We don't care. Nobody wants it. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, I'm saying this because I want you to thrive as a physician entrepreneur. But in order to do that, you got to keep the main thing the main thing. What is the main thing? I have to know how to attract an audience. So I go from nobody knows about me to they know about me. I need to know how to convert that audience into paying patients or paying clients. I need to understand how to serve them and build structures in such a way that they can continue working with me. I have to understand how to take care of them and build structures such that they will refer to me, they'll promote my stuff, they'll invite other people to work with me, they'll write all these reviews and all of these things. I need to understand how to build a team so that my business can run without me. These are core foundational things that you never sacrifice for downloads or square footage or media mentions or any of that. Are these 7 things important and great for your business? Yes. Are they more important than the foundational things? Never, never, ever, ever. If you're getting more media mentions than patients and clients, we got a problem. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm saying this because I want you to enjoy being an entrepreneur. I want you to win. I want you to have a lot of impact and time freedom and financial freedom. You're not going to get there if you prioritize vanity metrics over foundational metrics. It's just not going to happen. So you're going to look good on social media, and the day that everything goes to blazes, everyone will be like, what? But she's been doing so well. He's been doing so well. What happened? What had happened was, right? We prioritized vanity metrics over foundational metrics. And I want to invite you to never do that again. It is one of the most dangerous, most expensive things you would do in your practice or in your business that will put it at the most risk. It will put it at risk. Okay, so focus on the foundational things and by all means have all the vanity things. Okay, all right. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a moment and have a come to Jesus meeting with yourself and audit your value system. Do I value having a bit like large square footage and media mentions? Do I value that over doing the work of building a relationship with a referral partner so I can get new patients and get new clients? You have to tell yourself the truth. Do I value the number of downloads? I've even seen people who throw ads behind their YouTube channel just to say they got 100,000 subscribers and they can show you the plaque. But when you look at their downloads, it's like 100 downloads is 100 views per video. So none of those people stay. Like you have 100,000 subscribers. So what? They're not watching your stuff. And they're not watching your stuff. They're not buying your stuff. They're not buying your stuff. Your business is not growing. And so work done equal to 0. Except the whole purpose of your business was to get a silver plaque from YouTube. Now, am I saying don't get 100,000 subscribers? Of course not. On my faith-based channel, Success by the Book, that's our active target. We are at 17,900 subscribers. You see, I know the number at the time of this recording, and our goal is to get to 100. Why is that? So I can come back and teach you how to get to 100, right? My whole business is a lab. I do all the experiments and I come back and I tell you what works. That's what I do. Okay? Okay, so I want you to audit. Like, what do I truly value above what? What is the true work that will make my business move forward? What are the true needle movers that I'm refusing to engage with? And instead, I'm distracting myself with these vanity metrics that will make me look good on the outside. Meanwhile, my business is dying. What are those? Call your own self out. Okay? And then start focusing on the right things, because this is what I want you to think about. I want you to imagine being in a position where you have a stable, when I say stable, I mean your business is growing sustainably, okay? You're having a lot of impact. You're helping a lot of people. You're bringing in revenue and profits. You are getting more time off that you can spend, on yourself, on your family, all of that stuff, creating memories, all of that. And you have the media mentions and the square footage and the large team, and you have all of those things. You can have both. You can have both. But if you sacrifice foundational metrics for vanity metrics, it will lead to a world of hurt. And that's what I'm trying to prevent you from experiencing, okay? So go do the audit, and I want you to keep that picture in front of you. I'm going to have all the foundational stuff, and I'm going to have all the vanity metric stuff, okay? I want you to have both. And when you post about it on social media, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to reshare that. I'm going to put you on blast. I'm going to say, oh my goodness, look at physicians crushing it. I'm going to do all that. I'm here for it. But I want to do that and also know your business is working. Your business is here to stay. It's helping so many people. It's all good, okay? Rooting for you always, always. So go do this work. Remember to share your wins with me, share your ahas with me, share this podcast episode with someone else, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Unclear podcast.